We need to wake up, step outside the box, and think logically for once.
Did you know that racism doesn't really exist like we think it does? Does that sound ridiculous? Well, let's use our brains. If I were to cut off your hand and throw it 10 feet from you, where would you be? Would you go with your hand? No, you would be standing right where you were. So you can't be a part of your body. If you peel back the layers, you will come to two options. Either you are a brain or you are a soul. Now, it's quite easy to prove that you are in fact an immaterial soul, and I have a video linked above which tells how to do this. But even if you mistakenly said you were your brain, guess what? Brains are all the same color. So there's no such thing as white people or black people. There are only human souls. So since this is the case, racism is simply an illusion. We are all in the same boat, and there are big holes in that boat. You hate corruption, you say? Have you ever done anything wrong? Have you ever lied, cheated, or perhaps stolen something? If you answer yes to any of those questions, then that means that you are also corrupt. All people, whether they be police, white-skinned, black-skinned, etc., are corrupt. Some might say, no, white-skinned people took part in slavery. Well, so did black-skinned people, since 1654 continuing right through the Civil War. Did you know about this? Did you also know that those slave owners were often not very kind to their slaves? I would pause this video and read this description of some of the negative accounts described here, and the full link is in the description below. The reality is that we know corruption exists, but if corruption exists, then that means that God must exist. Because without a true standard of perfection, then there can be no way of saying when something is better or worse, if we don't have anything to compare those things to. Without God, the concepts of better or worse can't possibly exist. So, if we are corrupt, then what we need is to be redeemed. Now, if you still don't believe in God, then please check out my last video if you want scientific and logical proof. The reality is that the entity controlling all the propaganda, and please watch my last video on the Matrix, is Satan himself, the true human racist. What's going on now is something the Bible has predicted for thousands of years. Again, I refer you to my last video for proof of this. And if the argument now goes to no, the Bible is just a book about how to enslave people, then please pause this video and read these scriptures and then get back to me. Despite what the propaganda has told you about the Bible, the fact is that the Bible tells exactly what is wrong with the world, and it offers the only true solution to the problems we face. By the way, if you're wondering what the true agenda is behind all this, it's simply to create another civil war. The current ruler of this world wants people of all colors, backgrounds, and positions to start fighting against one another. Their motto is out of chaos comes order, and that's what they want because this allows them to set up the one world government the Bible predicted long ago. This government will be headed by a person who seemingly creates peace among the chaos, and that person will be the Antichrist.
If this is all news to you, then the reality is that you were enslaved. You have been programmed to ignore God, ignore reality, and to ignore that your own fallen nature further chains you to your own destruction. If you want to break those chains, then there's only one thing to do. You have to reach out to Jesus. You have to enter into a relationship with Him. Without Jesus, there's only death. But with Him is life, and He wants to give that to you freely if you just ask Him. Remember, the way of the truth means life, so we need to listen when the truth speaks.